Calum, an opening day point for the Blues this afternoon. It was certainly an eventful afternoon. What was your take on it?
Pleased with the level of performance. Challenging week in the build-up. I think that's reflected in not had to select a squad yet, to be honest. We had 16 available. We went with 16, and I thought the type of performance we tried to put on was reflective of what we want to be. Analysing the game, thought we were very good first half, good value for a 2-goal lead. The ball went across their box a couple of times, we had a couple of chances. Their goalkeepers pulled out a very good save at 0-0. Second half, perhaps we've put ourselves in a position where we've tried to just defend our lead, perhaps a little bit early. Some stuff outside of our control that I don't think I've been doing this job long enough to comment on. I don't think that'd be fair or appropriate. I think that's really important that others can do that stuff. So I'd rather talk about how pleased I am with pretty much our performance, with a couple of areas to tweak, and look, ready to move on to the next one.
Focus on, firstly, obviously you said about injuries and sort of the build-up to the week, and you appeared to lose 2 in the game as well, Kevin Roberts and Adam Thomas. Is it a case of just too early to tell with them?
Look, around the week, I just don't ever want to come across as making excuses. I think you sign a squad of players and you need to ensure that whatever team you put out is competent, capable, and has a chance of winning a game. Yeah, we did that, but there's some big names absentees, won't do it to death. Obviously one that we're going to be missing right the way through the season. Only lost 1 to injury, tactical with Adam Thomas. We felt that a lot of the work in the build-up was how can we ultimately isolate their centre-halves 3v2. So can we do that with an advancing midfielder? Can we do that with a winger playing narrower? What is the best protocol for us to do that? Didn't quite play out that way as much as we might have liked. We felt in the second half we could trouble them perhaps a little bit more with speed, so that was the nature of getting Darren on the pitch. Been limited to what we could do with Darren, obviously not seen as much of him this week in the build-up, but I thought he did great when he come on, given that we've limited opportunities to get him on the training ground. So stuff's been against us, yeah. In terms of Kev, we'll see how that plays out, but on my only frustration, maybe on a really selfish and personal point of view, is you just feel you'd love to have maybe a bit of good fortune early on. You know what I mean? You take a new role, you start from less than scratch. Maybe a little bit of good fortune, whether that translates into the opening game, whether that is in the build-up around availability and stuff, but hey, it wasn't to be, and we've certainly got to be happy with a point.
Focus on a few players, and in particular the 2 goals that you scored. Fantastic, firstly for Kurt Willoughby to get off the mark with a goal. He showed what he can do in pre-season. We all know what he can do at this level, and he's done it again today. Right place, right time. Yeah,
and it was a brilliant goal. 2 assists for Deck Weeks, thought particularly both really good assists, but the ball for the first goal is superb, and it's a really good finish from Kurt with a header. But it's his work rate out of possession and what he brings to the team, and he's a really likeable centre forward, isn't he? Someone that can really get behind. But look, a host of good individual performances that helps a collective performance. I thought the 2 young, all I've been told a lot over the summer is about we're a really young team. I don't see it. I really don't see it. I look at the ages. We might have had a young backline today, and I thought the 2 centre halves stood up and were counted. I thought to have both young fullbacks, if you look at that at one stage, yeah, we had a young backline, but there's a lot of experience and a lot of games at the right level in that team. So for that backline to have that test, that I think is a really unique test at Alfreton, that's not criticism. Everyone can set up in a certain way, and they ask you a question. They would say they scored 2 goals from it. I would obviously have questions about the build-up to the second goal, and then being enabled to do that through stuff that's outside of both teams' control. But we've got to be pleased with a lot of individual performances and the collective. What type of point that is will be defined by what we do at home, certainly in the next 2 games, Saturday, Tuesday.
And obviously the second goal, Deck, as you say, 2 assists, another fantastic performance from him. The fans would have seen that anyway last season, but Joe Lynch to take the goal in the way that he did, and his all-round performance, it was a really big performance from him, wasn't it?
Very good footballer, Joe Lynch. A lot of work to do. We do a lot of work with him. Very, very good footballer that I stand by what I said when he signed. I don't feel he's climbed 2 levels. I feel like where he's played most of his football, certainly since the age of 16, and when you start to step into senior football and the opportunities he's had, this is a really good opportunity for him to showcase himself. Industrious, bags of quality, great finish, wasn't it, as well? So pleased for him. I think my overwhelming feeling is being gutted for the players that, like you say, some of those individual moments or individual performances, they haven't got 3 points to show for them, only 1. And equally that's shared of, gutted for the supporters that got right behind us for 90 minutes, that on the train, the bus, the car home, that they've not got 3 points to take home with them.
And that was my final point. As 724, I think it was today. Surely at least half of them Chester fans. Minute 1, minute 90, they were noisy, they were vocal. It was fantastic, and a nice moment at the end as well. They appreciated the efforts, because it's a sucker punch to concede in injury time, but they were appreciative of the players' efforts, weren't they, as well?
What I hope the supporters have seen over a 6-week period, and whether that is off the pitch as well, in terms of stuff that club have done, is make a real effort to engage, appreciate, recognise. I'm very, very passionate about this football club. I've never made a secret about that, and I think there is an expectation as to what type of performances should be put in. We wanted to recognise our supporters before the game, after the game. I thought they were magnificent. On a personal level, really appreciate that support. It was a really nice moment after the game, and equally they got right behind what is their team. What you've got in terms of this group, and I'll say it to you 46 times if I have to, you can't guarantee results, because there's so many variables and stuff that can't be controlled over the course of 90 minutes. But in the build-up, we'll prepare in every single way that we can, whether that is tactically what we want to try and be, whether that is recruitment and getting the best possible players available, and stuff in the week. We'll work very, very hard. It won't be through a lack of trying, whether it is from my point of view, from the staff's point of view. You've got a very, very genuine group of players here, new and old, that are really, really determined to try and achieve some success at the football club. Would have loved for that to be 3 points today, but what we do over the next 2 games will define the context of that point. If this becomes a fortress here, if no one picks up a victory at Alfreton, it's a very good point. In the same way, if we don't pick up enough points over the course of the next 45 games, we'll be very, very disappointed, won't we, over what we've achieved. So it's a game in isolation. It's 1 point. Gutted for everyone that hasn't quite got something to celebrate. But I would say, when you look at it with new eyes, which is slightly difficult to do right now, it's a point that we'll take on Brackley at home and then Hereford at home.